time, it's time. I see we got some snacks out here, some drinks. All kinds of good stuff out there, but it's too late now. Tonight we're going to be telling a story, and it's called The Princess Mouse. A Finnish folktale adapted. We'll start it here. Once there was a father who lived on a farm with his 3 sons. One morning, when the boys had grown to manhood, he said to them,
"Boys, you're old enough now to marry. But in our family, we have our own tradition to find a bride."
The younger son nodded and listened respectfully, but the oldest brother said,
"You told us, Father."
We must each cut down a tree and see.
That's right. Then, walk the way the tree points until you find a sweetheart. That's how we've always done it, and that's how we always will.
Now the oldest son already knew who he wanted to marry. He also knew how to cut a tree so it fell how he wanted. So his tree fell and pointed to the north, towards the farm where his sweetheart lived.
That suits me.
The tree the second son chopped down fell to the south. He was thinking of a girl that he had often danced with who lived in the town to the south.
That suits me.
Now the youngest son, whose name was Miko, didn't have a sweetheart, but he thought he'd try his luck in the town. So maybe he cut the tree wrong, or maybe it had thoughts of its own, but it fell pointing towards the forest.
Good job, Miko. What sweetheart will you find there?
Will you quote one of the wolves or foxes?
They meant by this that only animals lived in the forest, and they thought they were making a good joke at Miko's expense.
Never mind. I'll find who I find. I am perfectly willing to go where my tree is pointed.
The 3 young men went their separate ways. The older brothers went gaily off, presented their suits to the 2 farmers whose daughters they admired. Miko started off with a brave front, but after he had gone some distance in the forest, his courage began to ebb.
How can I find a bride in a place where there are no human creatures at all?
But at last he came to a cottage deep in the woods, and his excitement returned when he saw the house.
I knew I'd find a sweetheart.
But when he pushed open the door and went in, it was empty.
All this way for nothing.
Maybe not.
Miko looked around, but the only living thing in sight was a little mouse, daintily combing her whiskers. Standing on her hind legs, she gazed at him with large, bright eyes.
Did you say something?
Of course I did. Now, why don't you tell me your name and what it is you're searching for?
Miko had never talked with a mouse, but he felt it only polite to reply.
My name is Miko, and I was hoping to find a sweetheart.
The little mouse questioned him further, and Miko told her the whole story of his brothers in the trees.
My 2 older brothers are finding sweethearts easily enough, I'm sure, but I don't see how I can find one here in the forest. It will shame me to have to go home and confess that I alone have failed.
Oh, why, Miko! I'll gladly be your sweetheart.
But you're only a mouse. Who ever heard of a man having a mouse for a sweetheart?
Take my word for it, Miko. You could do much worse than have me for a sweetheart. Even if I am only a mouse, I can love you and be true to you. Besides, even a mouse can be special. Come, feel my fur.
With one finger, Miko reluctantly stroked the mouse's back.
Why, it feels like velvet, just like the gown of a princess.
That's right, Miko.
And as Miko petted her, she sang a pretty little song. The song cheered him so much that he forgot his disappointment at not finding a human sweetheart.
Miko, sweetheart, will I be? What a fine young man is he! Gown of velvet I do wear, like the princess fine and rare.
Miko looked into her large, bright eyes and thought she really was quite nice for a mouse. And since he found no one else anyway, he decided to humor the little mouse and said,
Very well, little mouse. I will take you as my sweetheart.
Oh, Miko, I promise you won't be sorry. I will wait for you no matter how long it takes for you to return.
When Nico got home, his brothers were already there, boasting to their father about their sweethearts.
My sweetheart has the rosiest, reddest cheeks you ever saw.
And mine has the longest, most golden hair you ever saw.
And what about you,
Nico? When Nico didn't immediately start boasting about his sweetheart, the two older brothers began teasing him.
What's the matter, Nico? Has your sweetheart pretty pointed ears?
Her sharp white teeth and her fur coat.
Now, Nico didn't want to admit his sweetheart was a mouse, so he said,
You needn't laugh. I've found a sweetheart. She's a gentle, dainty little thing gowned in velvet. Gowned in velvet?
Just like a princess.
Yes, gowned in velvet like a princess. And when she sits up and sings to me, I'm perfectly happy.
The brothers went back to their chores on the farm, and after a few days, the father gave them their first task for their sweethearts to complete.
well, now, I should like to know what those sweethearts of yours are able to do. Have them each bake me a loaf of bread so I can see whether they're good housewives. That's how we've always done it. That's how we always will.
Mine will be able to make delicious bread, I'm sure of that.
So am I. Best you ever tasted.
Once again, when Nico was silent, the brothers began to tease him.
What about your princess, Miko?
Do you think your princess can bake bread?
I don't know. I'll have to ask her.
Of course, Nico had no reason for supposing that the little mouse could bake bread, and by the time he reached the cottage in the forest, he was feeling sad and discouraged. When he pushed open the door, he found the little mouse just as before, seated on the table, combing her whiskers. At the sight of Nico, she danced about with delight.
I'm so glad to see you. I knew you'd come back.
When Nico was silent, the little mouse became concerned.
What is the matter, my dear Miko?
My father wants each of our sweethearts to bake him a loaf of bread. If I come home without a loaf, my brothers will laugh at me.
You won't have to go home without a loaf. I can bake bread.
I've never heard of a mouse that could bake bread.
That may be true, but I'm also your sweetheart. And surely Miko's sweetheart can bake a loaf of bread. But you must be tired from your walk. Why don't you rest while I work?
All right.
Nico lay down on a bed in the corner, and the little mouse again sang him a pretty lullaby.
Nico's sweetheart will I be. What a fine young man is he. Loaf of bread that I will bake. It will be done when he wakes.
With that, she began ringing a small silver bell. Instantly, there was the sound of tiny, scratchy footsteps. Hundreds of little mice came running into the room. The little Princess Mouse, sitting up very straight and dignified, said to them,
Each of you go fetch me a grain of the finest wheat.
All the mice scampered quickly away. Done with their errand, they soon returned one by one, each carrying a single grain of the finest wheat. After that, it was no trick at all for the Princess Mouse to bake a beautiful loaf of wheaten bread. When the loaf of bread was finished, the mouse called out to Miko.
Miko, wake up! It's time to go home. And here's something for your father.
Miko was surprised, but gladly took the loaf back home to his father. The next day, the three brothers presented their father the loaves of their sweetheart's baking.
Very good, Sven. For hard-working people like us, rye bread is good. Barley bread is also good, Nils. What? White bread? Ah, now Miko must have a sweetheart of wealth.
Of course. Didn't he tell us she was a what, princess?
Say, Miko, the princess wants fine white flour. How does she get it?
She rings a little silver bell, and when her servants come in, she tells them to bring her grains of the finest wheat.
There. Don't grudge the boy his good luck. Each girl has baked a loaf she knows how to make, and each in her own way will probably make a good wife. But now, I must test all your sweethearts again. Tomorrow, you'll ask them to weave you some cloth. Then you'll bring it home to me. That's how we've always done it, and that's how we always will.
The older brothers were delighted with this, because they knew their sweethearts were skillful weavers.
We'll see how her ladyship fares this time.
Yes, surely a princess would not know how to weave.
Miko, too, had serious doubts of Little Mouse's ability at the loom, for who has ever heard of a mouse that could weave? The next morning, the brothers started out early, back to their sweethearts. When Miko reached the cottage in the woods, Little Mouse was in the room, jumping up and down in happiness.
Oh, Miko, I'm so glad you're here. Is this the day of our wedding?
Not yet, little mouse.
Why, Miko, you look so sad. What's wrong?
My father wants you to weave some cloth, but how can you do that? You're only a mouse.
That may be true, but I'm also your sweetheart. And surely Miko's sweetheart can weave. But you must be tired from your walk. Why don't you rest while I work?
All right.
Miko again lay down on a bed in the corner, and the little mouse sang her a lullaby.
Miko's sweetheart will I be. What a fine young man is he. Cloth of linen I will weave. I'll be done when he must leave.
When the little mouse was sure that Miko was asleep, she picked up her little silver bell and rang it. Out of the mouse holes all around the room poured hundreds of little mice. They all sat up on their haunches, gazing up at her and awaiting her orders.
Go, each of you, and find me the finest fiber of flax.
The mice went scurrying off from the cottage. And when their task was complete, they soon began returning, one by one, each bringing a fiber of flax. First, they spun it into yarn on the spinning wheel. Some worked the pedal, some cut the flax. Some rode round with the wheel. All the while, the Princess Mouse scurried here and there, assisting the little mouse. Then they strung the yarn on the loom and wove it into cloth. Some worked the pedals, some rocked the beater, and some sailed the shuttle back and forth. Once again, the Princess Mouse helped each with their tasks. When the job was complete, the Princess Mouse dismissed her helpers, and they all scampered back to their mouse holes. At last she cut the cloth from the window, and because the cloth was so sheer and delicate, it was able to be folded and tucked entirely into a nutshell. Then the Princess Mouse skipped to Miko and woke him.
Miko, wake up! It's time to go home. And here is something for your father.
Miko sleepily took the nutshell. He didn't know why his father should want the shell, but he said,
Thank you, little mouse.
When he got home, his brothers were proudly presenting the pieces of cloth from their squirrels.
Not very fine, but good enough, Sven. Strong and fairly even. Good enough for simple folk like us, Nils. And where is yours, Miko?
Look at that. Miko asked for cloth.
And his sweetheart gave him a nut.
But the brothers' laughter died as the farmer opened the nutshell and peered inside. Then he pinched at something and started to pull. Out came linen, fine beyond belief. It kept coming too, yard after yard after yard. Miko's brothers gaped with open mouths, and Miko did too.
There can be no better weaver than Miko's sweetheart. The other girls will be all right for farmers' wives, but Miko's might actually be a princess. Tomorrow, we will bring them home for the wedding. That's how we've always done it, and that's how we always will.
She's a good little
She's a good little mouse, and I'm very fond of her. But my brothers will certainly laugh when they find that she's only a mouse. But I don't care if they do laugh. She's been a good little sweetheart to me, and I'm not going to be ashamed of her.
When Miko arrived at the cottage the next morning, the little mouse again jumped up and down again in excitement.
Oh, Miko, is this the day of our wedding?
It is, little mouse.
Why, Miko, what's wrong?
How can I bring home a mouse to marry? My brothers and father and all our friends and neighbors will laugh and think I'm a fool.
They might think so, indeed. But Miko, what do you think?
Miko looked at the little mouse, gazing at him so seriously with her large, bright eyes. She thought about how she loved him and cared for him.
I think you're as sweet as any sweetheart could be, so let them laugh and think what they like. Today, you'll be my bride.
Oh, Miko, you made me the happiest mouse in the world. I must arrive at our wedding in proper style.
She rang her little silver bell, and to Miko's astonishment, a little carriage raced into the room. It was made from an empty nutshell, and the 5 prancing steeds that were drawing it were 5 mice. A mouse coachman sat in front, and a mouse footman behind.
Miko, aren't you going to help me down?
Miko helped her into the carriage. The mice took off, and the carriage sped from the cottage, so that Miko had to rush to catch up. While he hurried along behind her, the little mouse sang a pretty song. At last they reached the brothers' farm, and then the spot for the wedding on the bank of a lovely, swift-flowing stream. The guests were already there enjoying themselves. But as Miko came up, they all grew silent and stared at the little carriage. Miko's brothers with their brides weeping in disbelief.
That's the stupidest thing I ever saw, and I lived with that guy.
Have you really brought a mouse to be your bride?
And with one swift kick, they sent the carriage, the mice, and the princess mouse all into the stream. Before Miko could do a thing, the current bore them away.
No, what have you done? You drowned my sweetheart.
Have you lost your mind?
That was only a mouse!
She may have been a mouse, but she was also my sweetheart, and I really did love her. How sorry I am that you are drowned. You are a faithful, loving sweetheart, and now that you're gone, I realize how much I loved you.
All the guests were staring downstream and pointing
Miko!
and crying out in wonder. Miko turned and to his amazement saw a lovely princess in a gown of pearly velvet emerging gracefully from the river. She stood at the edge of the bank and stretched out her hand to Miko.
Miko, aren't you going to help me?
Miko stared blankly a moment, but then he recognized her voice and his eyes flew wide.
Are you my little mouse?
I surely was, but no longer. I was a princess under an evil enchantment, which could never have been broken unless one brother loved me and another despised me. Because you took me as your sweetheart, you and your brothers have broken the spell. So come, let's finally be married and then go home to my kingdom.
And the granddaughter With Miko's bride, the wonder of all, the wedding guests were a merry group and danced a traditional wedding dance, Miko and the princess along with them.